This is what I'd like to see from Preston Bus in the future. First of all, the legal and admin part to start with. I don't work for Preston Bus, and none of my family work for Preston Bus. These are only my thoughts, suggestions, opinions, and ideas. This is the first of a three-part series on what I'd like to see from Preston Bus. I first started liking Preston Bus in the early 90s when I was on a Dodge S56 with dual purpose seats. For those who don't know what dual purpose seats are, the best way for me to describe them is by saying that they are high back seats instead of the normal bus seats, where they finish approximately around halfway up your back and have a bar across the top. It steadily grew to me noticing changing of livery, changes to fleet numbers, and also new buses arriving, etc. I then started to collect bus timetables. Around the time that I started to drive, I started to lose interest in the buses, which I suppose was because I wasn't really using them anymore. However, I lived on a road where buses passed my house at regular intervals, so I couldn't miss them, and at times, usually bank holidays, the routes used to get double deckers. So I used to watch them going past from my living room window. But my interest was sparked up again when my nephew, following in my footsteps without knowing, as far as I know, I've also started to have an interest in Preston Bus. So now we regularly talk about buses and Preston Bus now. Since Ritala took over the running of Preston Bus in January 2011 for £3.2 million, I'd say Preston Bus have had mixed results. They have got more routes. They have recently been getting some more decent buses, but they have also lost routes and had rubbish and older buses being brought in, which are still currently being used. These are mainly double deckers. The buses that I'd like to see get rid of are 30910 to 30917 Scania East Lancashire Coachworks Esteems, although 30910 has the registration PRN 909, which I'd like to keep and be used on another bus, as it has a long history of being used on Preston buses. 40004 to 40004 to 40007 Dennis Strand Alexander ALX 400s, unless they were going to be used only as school bus services, and 40411 to 40415 Scania East Lancashire Coachworks Omnideckers. Again, unless they were going to be just used as school bus services. I'd like to see more Optare Solo SRs brought in, which would probably replace some of the older Optare Solos. Although I've heard people complain about the Optare Solos, they are much better than the old Dodge and Renault buses from the 90s. More Mercedes-Benz Citaros brought in. I wasn't originally a fan of the Citaros because I've heard that some of them have had issues with engine fires, but there hasn't really been a major problem with this. And having been on one in the past, they're actually quite comfortable. Although I don't like 33043, but that is mainly due to the fact that the seats aren't very comfortable on it. I'd also like to bring in more Omnilinks or Omnicity single deckers, or Omni-City double-deckers. And lastly, Wright Street decks. Although I don't like Wright Street lights, all of the Volvo B5LH Wright Eclipse Gemini 2 buses are still at Preston Bus depot, and five of which that were bought by the company have been put up for sale. Haven't been advertised for sale for over 3 weeks now, so hopefully they might actually keep them, but also maybe buy the 3 others which haven't been picked up from the lease company yet. In the future, I would like to see Preston Bus depart from being part of Ritala, either being run by a different company like Arriva for instance, or going back to being an independent company. However, for either of these to happen, I'd say that to buy Preston Bus from Ritala would cost at least £3.5 million. That's the end of part 1. Please be sure to watch part 2.